Good morning, it is Phoenix Amore. I am feeling really good. I heard that storm come in last night, and I did have a couple of dreams that I'm not gonna really get into, but it's interesting that I woke up to that article where it's like the storm. Really look at it, that storm coming through, and it's saying specifically that it's rolled out of Texas, and there may be some tornadoes hitting. There may be some tornadoes hitting some other states, right? But that's why I get how stuff comes out because Texas being that one court that pushed back on Obama, whether you wanted to take it as what it was, which is truly like trying to balance things out, it's like too many rights were being taken from other groups to give to a certain group. And that's what people were trying to say before. It's like a lot of people are okay with lesbian, gay, bi, or they were until some of these policies were so over the top that people finally started pushing back. So I try to keep people grounded, and I'm like, look at the legal aspect as to why they push back on some of that stuff rather than see Texas where there's all these blah, blah, blah. Stop and listen. Because even when it came to the marijuana thing, I'm like, what are the facts around weed and all that kind of stuff? That's it. I get tired of people who cannot moderate their discussion. So look at what I was saying about the legal aspect of things, okay? And then when you have the state like Massachusetts step back, I think it was Massachusetts, the step back and say, let's wait and see how that works for California for a while with this weed thing before we decide to leap all the way in. That is common sense moves. People that get all ticked off about that kind of stuff, or oh, that's silliness. You have to be real with it and just understand why people are doing certain things. So again, when I put that article up, I said you have to understand that was overstepping boundaries where people's children in the school, okay, you're talking about, oh, you can just go to any locker room. People always point just to the restroom, but if you're educated enough to stop and read, that was a policy where it was also saying in the schools you can have some 10-year-old boy decide he wants to say he's a girl and go use the locker rooms and all that. So it's a little too over the top. So that's why that injunction was placed by that Texas court. It just is what it is. So you got to stay objective if you're going to get into understanding the political aspect of things. But I found interesting, look at y'all's drama again. You can't help it. Obama went over to Donald Trump's turf. What turf are we talking about? To his house? No, y'all taking it too far. And he talking about Twitter. I'm like, this is the stuff where I'm like, this is where I'm saying it's like some high school stuff. uh so what, he gets on Twitter and he's trying to defend his legacy. I don't think y'all get how silly that is sounding. And this is again talking about there are lies being floated around out there, but even more so there's almost a very selfish element to that Obama went to go defend his legacy, still repeating some of the same language that I said before, is why God was like, they don't get it. It is not supposed to be about legacies. That is where God, it got out of place here. It should have been still about people. And it's become more about legacies when you talk about presidents and whatnot. And now y'all gone so far to where you're cyberbully people to defend the legacy. That didn't make any sense to me. So sure enough, like anything, okay, when there's lies and deceptions being thrown out to try to prove something, like people still think they're in court on Twitter or some shit, a storm forms, right? And I just said that yesterday. I was like, here we go. In your lies, darken the bluest skies. That storm has come out of nowhere, right? But the key that I like to point out is the fact that it's out of Texas. The tornadoes, if you recall, nights as I called them, in the Bible, when it says he'll make his messengers like the wind. And see, that's where I'm telling people right there. When I said rain, sometimes God, right? But the tornadoes of the message is like, stop the damn line. And since you didn't stop lying, you still feel like you got to go on Twitter and defend a legacy and drama and drama and drama. Boom, storm. And by the way, since Texas was bold enough to protect some of these religious rights of these people, guess what? That storm all of a sudden is out of Texas, but the threat of tornadoes is in the other states. Now, the last thing I want to address is I actually took the time to go back and look up J.K. Rowling for some reason, and somebody put an article up that hit a key thing about how she's now trying to backtrack, right? And there's one character that they said she's trying to say was African American. They're like, well, if that's the case, then why did that one character feel the need to fix their features? Exactly where I was going with the plastic surgery. And it's not just a black thing. It has become it's too much now. It's not even just to lift. It's I want to change my nose. I want this person nose. I want this person chin. I want this. That is sorcery. That will make God mad because he wanted us to embrace our individuality. And that is why people have these mental health issues now, because they don't look like so and so. So they're getting these surgeries, and then some of them are getting these surgeries, and because they don't look like themselves, they're still depressed. So it's interesting. I just saw that article, but I looked back at something I wrote when I said this about revealing this face, purest form, perfected, what you labeled deformed, I embraced it. Basically, it's saying, these are all my features. I'm happy with how I look. I don't plan on getting plastic surgery to change or small, make my nose smaller, my lips smaller, and all that. This is my face, and I love it. And you should love your own face too. Take care.